Hey, good afternoon and welcome to Beyond the Lines podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Watson, and it is 12 o'clock exactly. Yep. Set this stream for 11:50 and we are right on time. So welcome. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for doing so. We are streaming live to YouTube, Rumble, and X. Happy Monday, everyone. Yeah, we usually don't stream on Mondays. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Thought there was just a little bit of stuff in the news that we could touch on. So we'll see about those things. We'll talk about all the big buzzwords, right? Did I include them all in the title? They're all there. Yep, we cannot forget about Epstein already. I know Democrats spent a lot of time on releasing, the marketing messaging on release the Epstein files, and they seem to have somehow forgot about them. And now half the country's racist again because they couldn't understand what Bad Bunny was saying at the halftime show. So there's that. But yeah, so can't forget about the Epstein files and the Super Bowl, of course. So go Hawks, or gosh, we could not stop laughing at first of all, the chair of the Seahawks. Apparently her brother was the owner and he died in 2018. He was involved in Microsoft somehow. She acquired the team. Did she get a little too much airtime? I'm not sure. And then we were just like, what are 12s? What are 12s? Everybody was saying, go 12s. We had 12. Well, what is that? And so we looked it up, and it was almost as though it was written the day of, to ensure that everybody knew that it was the fans. It's really all about the fans. No offense to any 12s. If that's your team, congratulations. I'm sure that's a very, very exciting. I know the Seahawks haven't won. I think that they've only won one or two Super Bowls in their league history, right? I'm not sure. I think a lot of people are excited. The Patriots did not win, I guess. People are. I know Steelers fans were not rooting for the Patriots, I believe, because the Patriots are competitive when it comes to how many Super Bowl wins they have and all of that. So yeah, so Bad Bunny was the halftime performer. If you're anything like me, you're not super familiar with him. And we also have to include the Turning Point USA halftime show as well. See, I'm a country fan. Okay. You can judge me. That's fine. You can judge me and like and subscribe. But I am a country fan, and they haven't had a country artist perform at the Super Bowl since 1992, 94, something like that. Actually, well, we have a couple things to look at, so I won't jump the gun. But maybe I'll jump the gun here. We're going to do a little bit of screen sharing here in our technology, and I just was going back. So it's all the social media fuss, right? With the halftime show and, the thing about the Super Bowl, is that in the whole awakening, is that, wait, I wanted to go to, is it not going to show us? Is it not going to let me see? Peak. Guys, peak Super Bowl. I know I'm jumping around here. I'm sorry. I was trying to find the clip on X. Here we go. Maybe this is where here. Okay. So anyway, just to throw it out there, is that, in our last show that we did, I think it was on Friday, right? We talked a little bit about how a lot of us have been on this journey of awareness and awakening. And back in 2020, went into the awareness related to not just elite pedophilia, in Pizzagate, but to human trafficking and child trafficking, and how it excuse me, is such an issue for so many people that are already aware of it, and it's cannot be it can't be taken away from the political things that we've been seeing over the last number of years. So that's sort of what we were talking about on Friday, is that we're seeing a lot of, well, not today. I mean, we're seeing everybody's racist again. But with the resistance libs, especially on Facebook, just talking about, just saying like, you know, Epstein and the government's run by pedophiles and all this stuff. And, you know, it's like, well, the media gaslit everybody who even tried to talk about it or even was learning about it. And there was this great dissemination to the public years ago, right, in 2020, but then even before that, as I had mentioned on Friday's episode. And so part of that, because this wasn't just a one-off for, I don't even want to say, I want to say patriots, because I know that that's how people identify the person. MAGA could also be a label, a Trump supporter, perhaps. But if we just say, you know, those who are participating in the Great Awakening, what would we call them? What would we say? Those of us that have been sort of, again, paying attention, aware, we have an internet connection, going down the rabbit holes and such, right? This has been a thing for a number of years. And it's not just a one-off. It's not just this one case or this one whistleblower or this one story or this one situation. It's very multifaceted. And it's not isolated to the United States, as we're seeing. So, but the Super Bowl, if you remember, see, this is sort of like we're reminding ourselves, but then we're also helping the resistance libs catch up if they even care. They're still, again, on cultural diversity and such, because they think this is an immigration issue and ushering fascism, because the Trump administration is trying to get rid of people of color. Okay. Okay. So, are there some people that are prejudiced and racist and are into white supremacy? Of course, there's outliers on both sides, but much more recently, as we're seeing with that, like Kyle Antifa guy that just got arrested, with anti-Trump people that are in the medical profession, that there's documented cases of them being terminated because they talked on social media saying like just horrible things about like people who may be MAGA, that they are not going to care for them or whatever, just like totally beyond the pale. I wrote a little bit about it on Telegram, posted it there. So anyway, I do not believe this is a both sides thing. Some of my friends on Facebook would disagree, and they're entitled to their opinion. But so just keeping things in a perspective, though, again, this is not a one-off. This is so, again, related to the Super Bowl, is that once we started learning about the phenomenon and the actual thing of how this is like, you know, a real just horror that has been covered up in our society and is related to the drug trafficking as well, and the cartels and the election systems. Okay. So just one top of the other. But the Super Bowl for the last number of years has always been this point where of exposure, where people are like, not only do people believe that the Super Bowl and professional sports are rigged, but the occult rituals. Okay, y'all have to remember that this is all part of it too. Again, so this is information to remind us of where we've been, but also for my resistance libs friends who may or may not care. Okay, let the historical record show. So when a lot of people congregate, and you can see this too, because, you know, in schools and sports, youth sports and churches and stuff, where children gather, so do predators. But also big events like this, even the Olympics, but big events like this, like the Super Bowl, trafficking is always more prevalent. And it's more of like, if you see something, say something, you're seeing a lot of those things. You're seeing a lot of that messaging out there. So not only were we brought to awareness about bread and circus, about which, and I'm saying that loosely because that's how people identify with it. I still will have fun watching sports. It's very much part of tradition. And so I, for one, do not want to dismiss it completely, of course, because it's part of our culture. It's part of our traditions, and it's part of what brings people together, and it's part of our childhood. And there's, definitely good things about it. It's just like anything. There's good things about it and there's bad things about it. So it's our responsibility, right, to take the meat and leave the bones and be aware. Just be aware. This is also about education as well. And this is the whole journey that we as parents went on, again, a number of years ago. And for some, a lot earlier. So I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater on sports at all. But so the distraction piece, though, related to the professional sports and stuff, if you just know that that's, you can be aware of it and you don't have to become victim to the propaganda. And again, I was mentioning about the occult rituals and stuff, right? That's what we talk about with the concerts, with the, what's his name? Travis, what's his face? With the people that died at his concert. And with the, if you're into like the numerology and the numbers and such like that with the sports. Okay. So bread and circus, right? So if you're just aware of that and it just is, what it is, and you don't fall again into, like, you're just aware of it. That's all. It's just education. It's just entertainment, and you can choose to participate or not, but you don't have to be a victim to the not knowing or the propaganda or whatever. So aside from the fact that it is related to the distraction bread and circus stuff, it was very well exposed that the Super Bowl was also a opportunity for human trafficking. And so for all of my friends to miss that, right? Because we're on the Epstein thing. Everybody's focused on the Epstein thing. And then for all of my friends to go ahead and miss all of that and switch just right over to Bad Bunny and assume that everybody just forgot about the whole, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So there's that piece. So if people are disillusioned and reject the NFL and the halftime show and all the hoopla, aside from the fact that it's not just liberal propaganda and anti-Trump messaging, right? Because it's all political. That all was obvious. It's all about marketing, money, attention. Why do you think they picked such a controversial figure? From Puerto Rico, he was wearing a dress. You're going to ostracize half the country because you already know how everybody feels about this. So it's already controversial, right? But I just am surprised, and I guess I'm not surprised how many people just completely dismiss the whole human trafficking component of the Super Bowl. So people were going to turn it off anyway. People want to watch the sports. It's like fun, and, people that are aware, again, they're not going to completely dismiss it. They're going to engage. It's fun. We don't want to, we're not going to just get rid of everything that's in our culture because there's bad parts to it. But people definitely turn it off. They definitely don't give a shit about the NFL anymore because of what it has become, right? And so we've seen that with other sports and hockey and things when they get too political or they get too, pandering to an audience, and they ostracize their fan base. People don't like that, right? So we've seen that over the years. So the rejection of the NFL is not just because it was Bad Bunny singing in the halftime show. Nobody expects anything more of the NFL. Okay. Nobody expects anything more of these people. The fact that it was in Spanish, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. It did not get a good reaction from a lot of people. And then other people completely loved it, right? Because to them, it represented diversity and culture and inclusion, multiculturalism. The thing that he wrote on America, or love is stronger than hate. Love is stronger than hate, except when it comes to what? Or who, I should say. Trump, right? Or MAGA, or whatever doesn't fit into the political alignment of this, right? And that's why we're calling out the hypocrisy so much. That's why I got an ick feeling from Marianne Williamson, my teacher, back in 2016, when she was all love and light, except Donald Trump. And I'm like, why are you like, I thought we were doing love and light. Doesn't that mean everybody? Doesn't that mean doing our inner work? Doesn't that mean people that we don't like? Doesn't that mean people who we don't agree with or hate even? I mean, I don't even think, how can you even include hate in a spiritual practice with love and light? So if you're going to do the whole love is stronger than hate, MAGA ain't saying that, okay? Donald Trump is not saying that, okay? And he has his own set of problems. He has his own set of problems. People, we all have our own problems. But the universal messaging, like, yes, everybody would agree with that. Who would disagree with that? And then you have the men grinding up on each other in the halftime show. And to be honest, like, I didn't know. Was he going to wear a dress? Was he going to have, like, I don't know. Was men going to be kissing on the screen? Like, I don't know. I have my little kid here with me and stuff. And like, I don't know. It was going to be like that Thanksgiving Day parade. Do you guys remember that? So let's go to peak Super Bowl. Peak Super Bowl. Let's see if we can get to it. We're going to screen share. See if it works.
Tampa, you ready to run? Woo!
Oh no, shit. I'm going to get in trouble for playing this shit. Oh no, shit. I'm going to get in trouble. YouTube is not going to let me play this. Damn it. We just can't have nice things. That's all. Because the last time I played something, they stopped it in the middle, or they said like they won't publish it or whatever because of copyright. I don't even remember what it was. Actually, I think it was a True Social post that Trump had reposted that had like, I don't even know what it was. All right. Well, anyway, my peak my peak Super Bowl was Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake and Aerosmith. That's just what I grew up on, you know? I guess, and you know what? And here's the thing. Like, I don't want my children to watch the Grammys. Like, I don't want so this isn't just about, you know, this. Like, I personally do not want my kids to see raunchy shit. I don't want them to see it. So it doesn't matter if it's Cardi B doing it, if it's Nicki Minaj. It doesn't matter if it's Madonna or J-Lo or anything. I don't want them seeing demonic shit. I don't want the devil and stuff and red and all the stuff and the blood. I mean, there was a part in the Taylor Swift thing where she was doing something that I just was like, you know, because if you look into occult rituals, just spend any certain amount of time there. You know, it all goes together. Like, this genuinely isn't about race. It's not about immigration. It's not about, like, yeah, because I just see people posting like that it's, if you didn't like the Bad Bunny, you know, the fact that he was speaking Spanish, like you're racist or you're prejudiced against Mexican or Puerto Ricans, or you're into white supremacy. And I'm just here to tell people that care that no, it's like also related to like occult practices and shit, because we've been down that road. We've seen it. And if you've ever experienced evil or you've ever seen evil, and if you've spent any time with the horrors like that we're talking about, or you've seen it in your own life, you've experienced trauma, whatever, in your own life. That's what this is about. Now, is it that way for everybody? Or like I said, are there some people that are prejudiced and racist? Obviously, of course. The country is a big place. There's also people like Antifa Kyle who literally wants to, like, you know, murder people and puts it on social media just because of their political beliefs, because he feels like we're under a fascist government and he has to do something about it. And he's not alone. It's like TikTok after TikTok, social media account after social media account of these people who feel like, you know, their violence is justified. So that is not comparable, bro. Like, not comparable. Okay. So we really try and be neutral here. We really try and look at both sides, and we try and do like the different, like where everybody's coming from. Like, if I believed that, you know, what would my worldview be? Or if my worldview was this way, what sort of perspective or actions or political views would I carry? Really try and tap into the visceral, again, with the anti-Trumpism, because it's also quite loud. Okay, so it's like, why aren't you looking at the we do look at MAGA propaganda, in fact, actually. But there's different kinds, and there's different kinds, and there's different people, and MAGA is a huge coalition, and they want to say that this is just this, and they want to do a lot of anti-Trump stuff as well. But this new neo-left radicalism is a huge issue, and it's been promulgated by legacy media and the Democrat Party. And it's very different than what we've seen on the other side of the political aisle, if that's what we're doing. Because as of today, we still only have two political parties. And as of today, at the end of the day, the people that you love to watch, my resistance lib friends, they're going to tell you to vote blue no matter who at the end of the day, every 6 months. So if you think that people are just out there with no agenda and they just are really excited for, like, you know, speaking truth to fucking power, sorry, but wake up. Wake up. And it's okay. We're all in this together. Like, and once we're awakening and we're waking up even more, fucking, we're like, let me go back to sleep, it still doesn't end. It's still here. we're still having to face the things. So again, the Bad Bunny shit is not just about the fact that he is grinding up on men and he's not speaking English and it's like this is an American pastime. I like what's his face? What's his name from Menudo? Ricky Martin. I like Ricky Martin. I grew up on Ricky Martin. I don't really care for Lady Gaga. She's going through her whole other transformation as well. So then I guess like if we want to turn to, because we're at 23, if we want to turn to Turning Point, well, let's just do another screen share of a video that the NFL posted of Roger Goodell hugging Bad Bunny. Okay. Let's see. Can you guys see it? Yes. Okay, here we go. So if we go down here, let's see.
Can we get a photo? Let's get a photo. Right here, gentlemen. Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome.
Can you guys see that? I just want to make sure. Is it like me and I see. I'm in the side. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I just thought it was like a little bit awkward. I don't know. Maybe because Commissioner Goodell and Bad Bunny share a moment after his performance. It seemed to me a little like maybe, I don't know, guys. Hold on. Let me take a step back. If you guys want to talk about the billionaire class and the Epstein class and all this bullshit, we can go to what this little young buck in Texas, they're promoting him now. The Democrat Party's promoting him, and he's saying like the Epstein class and they're trying to do the whole fight the oligarchy, and they're trying to do the whole calling out the billionaire class. They're still trying to do this. They are funded by the billionaire class. Remember, the DNC chair, Ken Martin, said there's good billionaires and bad billionaires. Okay. So any politician from the Democrat Party or the Republican Party, but we're speaking specifically to the Democrat Party and their failed messaging, and they continue to fail. And even people are like, oh, this messaging this might stick. They're funded by billionaires. And they're not billionaires like the politicians. You see, it's not like a Trump thing. We talk about this a lot. It's not a Trump thing. They don't have a Trump thing. They want a Trump thing. They need a Trump thing. They don't have one. Anyway, Commissioner Goodell, it's a little icky. If we're talking about he owns him. No? I mean, I don't know. I just was watching the clip. It just came across my X feed. And to me, it just was like, ick.
Can we get a photo? Let's get a photo. Right here, gentlemen. Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome.
I mean, is Goodell like look how he's touching him around the waist. It almost looks like Bad Bunny's pushing back.
Can we get a photo? Let's get a photo. Right here, gentlemen. Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome.
And then he touches him again a bunch of times in his chest, in his stomach. Like, wasn't that weird, guys? Was it just me? Please put in the comments if you think that was weird. Like, or was it just me? I don't know. I did not like that. Now, what? What? My kid is texting me. Okay. So, wait, what is this? The exact moment? Yeah. It's just really hard to be on social media, right? It's because there's just so many, it's just like two sides, it's very divisive. I mean, there's some accounts, of course, that go into nuance and stuff like that. Of course. But a lot of the main information that we're getting is a lot of the just very divisive, very pick your side. So I guess then we can transfer over. We can segue over to Turning Point USA. So Turning Point USA had their own halftime show, and I don't remember if it was announced. I don't remember when it was announced. Oh, why? What and why? For making practices. Oh my gosh, my son just told me something crazy. Good. It doesn't matter. He just said, "Did you hear the news?" I'm like, what could it be? What? Okay. It's fine. It's not bad news. It's all fine. I'm just like freaking out because, with these kids, who knows? Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. It's local stuff. It's all fine. So Turning Point USA, I don't know when they announced that they were going to do their, that's crazy. I don't know when they're going. Sorry, I'm multitasking. I don't know when they announced, Turning Point USA announced that they were going to do a halftime show. So a lot of the other things that I saw on social media was that Turning Point, well, here, I'll just go to what somebody who I follow and value, Kristen Megan Kelly. I value her perspective. She wrote here, this is what she posted on Facebook here. Okay. A picture of her television screen. And she said, marked safe from TPUSA and their Zionist takeover propaganda. I'm not supporting an organization that has gone against that which Charlie stood up for and what he stood against. Yeah, totally. But why are you then watching the Bad Bunny episode of the human trafficking festival and the occult rituals? Like, I don't know why, you know what I mean? Like, that's okay. I'm just saying you're not safe from that, but it's so everybody picks their poison. And she's very passionate and, that from her perspective and such like that. And she's very outspoken. And so I could totally see how she is taking that stance or why she would post that or whatever. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I don't think that people, with Turning Point, their reputation is definitely in the tank, for sure. With all the information out there about Erica Kirk, Candace, whatever, she is doing a ton of information out there, and it's out there. And so in addition to, she's not the only one, but in addition to, so Turning Point USA has a lot of, and that girl who came out, she posted, she was an employee. They have a lot of things to deal with, publicity wise and all kinds of things. But if you don't like country music, right? If you don't like country music, and maybe Chris and Megyn Kelly does not like country music. If you don't like country music and you wanted to just support Charlie's organization, it could be about that too. Or not just Charlie's organization, but so Turning Point's going through this thing right now where it's who are they without Charlie? And not just who are they without him, but who have they become as far as all their skeletons coming out of the closet, right? All of the things. So that's for them to figure out and decide. I'm not involved in that organization. I never have been. So I was sort of, I don't feel like I have to defend Turning Point, I had my own criticisms of Turning Point related to their, what Scott Pressler's doing with the elections and stuff like that, and early voting, early vote action and all that stuff. I didn't agree with things that Turning Point did from the election perspective, from my understanding of it at the time, things with Arizona. I always felt like they could have done with their platform. I always felt like they could have done more, right? With exposing, the elections, and all the things that the grassroots people were doing. And it seemed like that they were suppressing people, and not working with them, but wanting to do their own thing and sort of divide from it and do early voting. Charlie had a lot of really good points. I mean, one of them was to make red areas more red, do registrations and increase Republican registrations. But it's still very painful. And I think that that's where Kristen Megyn Kelly is coming from. I'm sorry, that's not her name. I always, because it's Megyn Kelly. Yeah, it is Kristen Megyn Kelly. Huh. Okay. So, and I think that's where that's where she's coming from. And I think that's where a lot of people are coming from, is because people just really loved Charlie and they understand they recognize the information that he was going through something at the time of his murder, related to his wanting to speak out about Gaza and Palestine and not defend Israel. And so people really resonate with that, because that's a lot of where people are at. And they recognize that that's, I mean, not obviously that's all coming out, but that that Charlie was involved on a level, and I don't give much credence to the George Webb theories. I know XF has gone into that. As far as auditing Turning Point USA and all that sort of, that. Again, yeah, I think that that's all part of it. I mean, I personally don't dive into it too hard because I'm not super curious about it. I think I don't necessarily know if it makes a difference if I know, because like I said, I'm not involved. I try and stay up to date on what people are saying, that are more informed on the issues than me, and that also may be closer to the situation than me. Like that girl that worked there that came out, and started saying things like about the culture or whatever. I didn't even watch it. I just watched a little bit of it. I saw that people were sharing it. I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not an employee. I have never been. I have never been a volunteer. I know people that are involved, but even then, so it's really just more about Charlie. And, it really is still painful. Yeah, it's really painful. And I think it's painful for people too that are not happy with Turning Point. That are like, you're not doing right by Charlie, or not, whatever, they have their own issues. And again, Charlie wasn't perfect, either. And he, like I said, like I had my, criticisms of his stuff with more of the elections, but when it came to his, what he knew about Christian principles and how he spoke out against, abortion and transgender ideology, and how he really confronted people. I think he was more on point with those things culturally. The dust really hasn't settled. And I think that people are pissed. People are still mourning the loss of him. And then also just not happy with the hoopla of Turning Point, not happy with the way that they're doing things, but they weren't really to begin with. It was like always just about Charlie as his own person. So who is Turning Point without Charlie? And I really don't. Again, it's interesting to me as it relates to politics, as it relates to like the Trump era and messaging and culture wars. It's interesting to me from that perspective, or it's of interest to me. But as far as having this overt opinion about it, or wanting to post about it being a Zionist organization, or feeling like I need to support everything that Candace Owens is saying or whatever, I just don't. It's just more such a point of contention and sadness related to the loss of Charlie, and how everybody had to see it so damn publicly, and just the trauma that ensued, and just the loss of just of him. So anyway, if you don't like Turning Point, and you also don't like country music, you may not have watched the Turning Point show. Like I said, I like country music. And so I did watch, because I wanted to see, they had a woman that was playing the violin or something. She was playing an instrument there. I thought that was nice. What's her face sang? Again, I'm not their PR person. I don't remember her name. Kid Rock, of course, was there. Yeah, I thought it was fine for them to do. And they're not going to get a bunch of views on YouTube or whatever. They were on YouTube and Rumble and stuff. So people are talking about it being, the two controlled opposition, how it's both, people thinking like it has to be Turning Point or it has to be the Super Bowl halftime show. And, I think that there's deeper reasons for why people watched either one, and also why nobody watched either one, or why nobody felt like they had to comment about it on social media. It's always like everybody has to comment, and that's wild. My friend, she posted on her Facebook page, and she's a real music nerd, I guess I would say. Maybe what would I say about her? Just like into indie bands, and she's marrying a musician, and so she's into music, and she is not like into Trump, but she's into medical freedom, I would say. Awareness about that, but really not political outside of that. Sort of hippie-ish, I guess you would say. She was like, oh, I would have liked to have seen captions, because Like, I want to know what the lyrics are. Like, I don't know that these songs, like, I would have liked to, and it wasn't related to her being like anti Puerto Rican or anti Spanish. She was just like, oh, and then she's like, I didn't even mean for it to become, she ended up like deleting it. I was like, that's part of the problem with Facebook, is because people want to just say, everybody makes it about them, about their opinion and their perspective. And it's like, you don't need to comment. Everybody feels like they need to comment, and I mean, there's a lot of people that don't comment too. And we'll never know what they have to say, they're called the silent majority. So she was just like, I can't get sucked down this rabbit hole. And then a friend of ours, he was like, I'm Puerto Rican, and I didn't know what he was saying, so it's like, and then again, my resistance lib friends want to be like, oh, because we just came off of the Trump is racist again because of the oh my gosh, because of the clip that got clipped into his election fraud video on a True Social that he posted. There's that whole thing. So we just came off of Trump's racist. Yeah, but we don't want to forget about the human trafficking component of the Super Bowl. And it's not just about Trump. I know he's in the Epstein files a bunch of times. I mean, so is a lot of other people. He's the president of the United States. They're not going to investigate the president of the United States. I'm sorry to tell you, over this. Like, they're going to try and impeach him probably because that's part of it, because presidents are not kings. They're going to try and impeach him over something. But if they try and impeach him over Epstein, then they're going to have to investigate everybody else that's in the files. And like, as we reviewed this Friday, is that this is not about justice. This is about public awareness. And you're like, well, that's bullshit. Yeah, it is. It is. Why would Trump sign an executive order? Why didn't we look into the claims against Biden? His son, like, I'm just saying, what about Hunter Biden? Because they got him on the gun charge and stuff, but like, I know it's frustrating. It is. It's super frustrating. And it can feel very demoralizing. But they're not going to, at high levels like this, the president, they're not going to do that. And they didn't do it with Biden. And they didn't do it with Obama. There was that one whistleblower, what's her face, Tara Reid, about Biden. And Allie Carter's name has been coming up recently. And she flat out said, I mean, I'm on YouTube right now, so I don't know what we want to say, but I mean, she flat out said, I was TR'd by Joe Biden, like, for him. Like, I don't think I've seen anybody on camera say that about Trump, like, overtly. I know our brains want to focus so hard on this, and I don't think we're going to get anywhere by doing that. I'm just basically speaking to my friends again that are kind of seeing all these things for the first time. It's sort of just getting as familiar with the content as you possibly can without losing, your mind about it. And then, continuing with the public pressure, because there's other low-hanging fruit that could come of it. And like I said, there's already still court cases about it. But to act like this is just a Trump problem, I mean, dude, look into like Michael Wolff. I mean, everybody on that's in the files, that's in the emails and stuff, you know, like it's disgusting. But I think people can get caught in the rabbit hole of just focusing on Trump. And I'm not saying that he, you know, may or may not be guilty, but you're not going to find that out. It's not going to come out about him because it's already been exposed and exhausted. So, I mean, and then now the fact that Democrats aren't even talking about the Epstein files, you know, that they like, it's just a mess. And if you as the public want to stay sort of educated and aware and non-propagandized, then you're going to have to look at your own party. You're going to have to see why they have y'all out there in the streets protesting ICE, trying to save your immigrant neighbors. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about why your party has you out there in the street in 0-degree weather, putting your white faces in the middle of law enforcement while these elite pedophiles are still running around? Painful. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where the narrative goes. Let's go see if we can see one more thing that we were watching. This was Richardson's thing the other day. She's ridiculous, as usual. As usual. She did not look good. She wasn't home. It looks like she's back now because she did a thing over the weekend with Joanne again. This was like classic Richardson, saying a bunch of stuff, but not saying anything. You know what I mean? So let's see if we can just screen share here. Here it is. Oh my God. Oh God. Wait, here guys. This is the other thing I wanted to show you before that. Wait, come on. Oh, here it is. This is Richardson. Did I show you this? This is Richardson in her Minneapolis protester era. Oh, she was saying that's where she is.
Have technological issues. It's kind of a thing. Danny, is that you? Oh my Lord. Yes, it is you. I finally caught you over here. And here we have Nashville, Tennessee, and I think Facebook is on board. Yes, it is. Mays Landing, New Jersey, where I have been. Welcome to Politics Chat on February 3rd, Tuesday. I know this looks a bit like a hostage video. Where I am, it is very cold. So it's a different cold place than I normally am. So that's why I'm bundled up like this. Let me start in today, get right into it today, and start in a place that you did not expect me or ask me to start, but I think it's really important. And that's that this is February 3rd. And February 3rd is the day that Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, planned to end the TPS status, temporary protected status for Haiti. And I want to talk you through a little bit about what happened because it matters for many reasons, but it's got a really interesting larger picture behind it. And that's that what happened to create the idea of a temporary protected status is in 1990, Congress got together and looked at the fact that presidents
Okay, you can look at this on your own. Okay, you can watch. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the last let's go to the other clip of hers where she again I guess it's again she's home now, so she cleaned up a little bit, I guess, but she did not look well or sound well. Here we go. Here we go. This might be hard to watch. But I mean, we have a couple minutes here until the until the end of the show, so we might as well just watch it together, right? Okay. Let's see. Screen share. Yeah, we'll just take it to the end of the hour, and then we'll wrap it up here. Well, you guys tell me. She seems a little more than normal, you know?
Hey, folks. It's February 5th, 2026, and I am pre-recording this again this week because I'm busy at the time. We usually chat about what is happening in politics. But I wanted to make sure to come on today, even though I won't be available at the normal time, because there's some stories I really wanted to flag today, unusual stories that I want to make sure are on people's radar screens. The first happened late last night, and it was a letter from Senator Ron Wyden, who sits on the Senate Intelligence Committee. And it's worth remembering that Wyden is the guy who does his homework. I mean, he's really kind of methodical in the background, whip smart, spends a lot of time focusing on finances, really, really solid senator. And the reason I lay that out is because what happened last night was he wrote a letter, an open public letter, to the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, a man named John Ratcliffe, who is a Trump appointee without any experience really before this in intelligence. There's a long backstory to Ratcliffe. If you're interested, you can go through, you can go to Substack or Facebook and look at my letters. And those actually, especially at Facebook, have very good words search engines. So if you just put in Ratcliffe, you can read the whole backstory of Ratcliffe.
Wait. Okay, hold on. So we have to go to her Facebook account in order to get mainstream information that anybody could just look up, right? This is the whole thing with her. This is so ridiculous with her. It's hilarious. It's hilarious with her is that she thinks she's like reporting on like things that in real time, right? XF had made the joke about her, she thinks she's writing the diary of Anne Frank or something. Anyway, so if you want to learn about John Radcliffe, just go to Richardson's Substack account, okay? Because you can't just put his name into a search engine and find out everything that you need to know about John Radcliffe, or go on to X or whatever, right? You need to go to, because Facebook has a great search feature. Dude, this is like Brian Berletich, dude, all the way. Facebook has a great search feature. Let's go. Oh my God. Okay. Just going to rewind it a little bit here.
Go to Substack or...
Oh my God, let's rewind it so we get a
letter. To the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, a man named John Ratcliffe, who is a Trump appointee without any experience really before this in intelligence. There's a long backstory to Ratcliffe. If you're interested, you can go through, you can go to Substack or Facebook and look at my letters. And those actually, especially at Facebook, have very good word search engines. So if you just put in Ratcliffe, you can read the whole backstory of Ratcliffe. But anyway, Ratcliffe is the director of the CIA, and he hasn't been really out in front much with this administration. Here's the letter that Wyden wrote. It says to John Ratcliffe, I write to alert you to a classified letter I sent you earlier today in which I express deep concerns about CIA activities.
Oh my God. Guys, she's acting like this is the first time a politician has written a politically charged virtue signaling letter in the history of politicians. Look at her. This is reporting live, history in the making.
And then he ends with this zinger. Thank you for your attention to this important matter. Obviously, a play on the fact that Trump always says, thank you for your attention to this matter. Wyden here is saying this is an important matter. Well, what's going on with this letter? First of all, you and I and,
Hold on. So she doesn't actually read the letter. She just says the intro and then she says the outro of the letter. She doesn't actually read the contents of the letter. Huh? Okay. You or I, here we go. This is her literally trying to make something, but let's carry on.
Everybody has no idea what he is talking about. What this suggests,
hold on,
is that
what did he say?
Saying this is an important matter. Mm-hmm. Well, what's going on with this letter? First of all, you and I and, everybody has no idea what he is talking about. What this suggests is that Wyden on the Senate Intelligence Committee has seen classified information that has him so concerned about what it is and what's going to happen with it going forward that he has alerted the American public in the only way he really can that there's something big going on here. And he wants us to know it's out there. At the same time, he is reading throwing a flag across the bow of Ratcliffe to say, you're not going to be able to get away with saying you didn't see my letter about this. I'm putting this out in public that I wrote you a classified letter about this so that when we later haul you up to the Hill and make you start explaining why whatever it was you did happened, you're not going to be able to say you didn't know. So this is the kind of, I always talk about there being, when I look at the news, to me, it's like the cement coming out of a cement truck going into a foundation. It's just sort of a mixture of water and, gray matter. And, maybe, if it's cement, maybe or concrete, maybe there's a rock or two in it, nothing unusual. But when there's a child's plastic toy or a leaping carp is how I think about it, you sit up and pay attention. This is a leaping carp. And we don't know at all what it is, but if Wyden is doing this, there's a lot of the stuff that happens that I don't react to. And I sit there and sort of say, well, it's just kind of like continuing the story from yesterday. This is not continuing a story. And I'm going to be watching this incredibly closely to see what it means. It may, but it may not be related to the fact that there's a whistleblower complaint out there seemingly, and again, that we're all just trying to look for the space around the elephant. We don't know what the elephant is. Seemingly related to Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. We just don't know. And my gut sense is it's something different, but we just don't know. I'm totally
guessing. That's what we're paying for, is her gut sense.
So this is one of the big things I wanted to flag. But here is another one that again really was digested best fairly late yesterday by Chris Geidner of Law Dork, although you've probably seen references to it, maybe not quite seen what they were talking about. Earlier this week in a courtroom in Minnesota, a lawyer, people said she melted down, but that's in part because they were only dragging pieces of the transcript out and throwing them into stories. The transcript itself is deeply, deeply disturbing because what it shows in this courtroom in Minnesota is that the Department of Homeland Security, and that is the department under which the Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol both operate, ICE and Border Patrol, have been indiscriminately grabbing people off the streets. The lawyer said, sometimes the people who are arrested, the people who do that don't even know their names. They don't know.
Okay. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. She really skipped topics there. She didn't go into anything of any substance related to the whistleblower claim that she's making about Tulsi Gabbard. She's super vague on the letter, that she's making a big deal about, like, we've never seen a politician write a letter to the director of CIA or anybody before, anything. Director of, is that his role? Ratcliffe. Like, I don't know who she's talking to or who well, we already know that she just, not only pities her audience, and talks down to them, similar to Brian Bear-Littich, but that she just really does not hold in high credence her audience. And so I don't know why she's talking like people don't, like, wouldn't you just maybe do a screen share of the letter if you're trying to do this? Like, this is really important. Would you just do a screen share of the letter, or direct people to a link of where they can find the letter? Or I don't know. It's just the way she presented it. Is it just me? I mean, she's presenting it sort of vaguely and like she's talking to like elementary school children. Like, this is really important because because he can't deny that he didn't receive it. Like, are we supposed to be idiots that we don't understand how, official documents are made, or that, like, I'm pretty sure that if Ratcliffe got a letter from one of the Congress people, he would know about it and he wouldn't need like a public statement of, like, and how would he make this awareness to the public? Well, he can just tell you, Hev. He can just come on your show and tell you, to all your hundreds of thousands of views on Facebook or YouTube, and your 2.5 million subscribers on Substack, right? With your access to the public. So he could just tell you, actually. He doesn't need to, and there's nothing secretive. I don't know and then just the way she describes this experience is like super strange, and just like, it's just it seems like she's leading us on this mystery of something. And now she's switching it over again to like this courtroom in Minnesota with this person. Like, she's not even using people's names or anything, or places. Right? Like, what is she even talking about? And then, I mean, it's hysterical. And we just had, in one of our suburbs outside of the city, they were crowdfunding for a dad, him and his wife and their child. He was picked up by ICE. And there was a lot of controversy over why, like, oh, but he had all this paperwork and he has a social security number and all this stuff. Well, turns out about a week later, he was released, and, thankful. The guy who posted it on his Facebook is a ex-news anchor for one of the local city stations. And he's like a journalist now, on his own. And anyway, he posted it, and he just said that, happy to have him back. And thankfully, thank you to the Congress people who helped us with that. And he mentioned Senator Dave McCormick, who is obviously, a Trump ally. And so people in the comments were like, oh, what did he have to do with it? I guess it turns out that he had an expired visa, inevitably. There's still some controversy about it, but he was released, so much for fascist government, I guess. They're releasing people, even though he had an expired visa. And he's been in the country for a number of years without doing it. His wife doesn't speak a lick of English. She couldn't respond in the article, which is fine. Fine. Okay? Like, that's not even the issue. The issue is that it's not for no reason. They're not just pulling people up off the streets for no reason. You may disagree that you don't like the way that it is happening, but it's not for no reason. You see? So Anyway, I don't know what she's talking about here in a courtroom in Minnesota. She's not even, she's being so vague. Let's go to what Tulsi had to say about the whistleblower, because this is what Richardson doesn't want you to do. She doesn't want you to cross the aisle. She doesn't want you to listen to Trump, because that's what she does. Okay, let's go to here we go. Let's see if we can screen share this. We'll stop. And we're almost done here. We'll wrap it up. We'll go to Tulsi here. Can you guys see that? Okay. So on February 7th, DNI Tulsi Gabbard's post says, Senator Mark Warner and his friends in the propaganda media. So Mark Warner is the person who Richardson was referencing, right? Senator Mark Warner and his friends in the propaganda media have repeatedly, Richardson also had this guy on her show. Do you remember that? She interviewed him. Okay. Senator Mark Warner and his friends in the propaganda media have repeatedly lied to the American people that I or the ODNI hid a whistleblower complaint in a safe for 8 months. This is a blatant lie. Here's the truth, or she just says the truth. I am not now, nor have I ever been, in possession or control of the whistleblower's complaint. So I obviously could not have hidden it in a safe. Biden-era IC Inspector General Tamara Johnson was in possession of and responsible for securing the complaint for months. The first time I saw the whistleblower complaint was 2 weeks ago when I had to review it to provide guidance on how it should be securely shared with Congress. As vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Warner knows very well that whistleblower complaints that contain highly classified and compartmented intelligence, even if they contain baseless allegations like this one, must be secured in a safe, which the Biden-era Inspector General Tamara Johnson did, and her successor, Inspector General Chris Fox, continued to do. After IC Inspector General Fox hand-delivered the complaint to the Gang of 8, the complaint was returned to a safe where it remains, consistent with any information of such sensitivity. Either Senator Warner knows these facts and is intentionally lying to the American people, or he doesn't have a clue how these things work and is therefore not qualified to be in the U.S. Senate, and certainly not the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Here is a detailed chronology of the situation. In June 2025, I became aware that a whistleblower made a complaint against me that after further investigation, neither Biden-era IC Inspector General Tamara Johnson nor current IC Inspector General Chris Fox found the complaint to be credible. The complaint required special handling and storage in a safe because the complainant chose to include highly sensitive information within the complaint itself rather than referencing the sensitive reporting and leaving the complaint at a lower level of classification. Security standards for complaints that include such sensitive intelligence require the Inspector General to keep the complaint and the intelligence reference secure in a safe from the time that the complaint was made until now. In June 2025, after Biden-era Inspector General Tamara Johnson completed her review of the complaint, no further oversight or investigative activity took place. Biden-era Inspector General Johnson had communicated with me directly throughout the course of her investigation into this complaint, yet neither she nor anyone from her office informed me that the whistleblower chose to send the complaint to Congress, which would require me to issue security instructions. When a complaint is not found to be credible, there is no timeline under the law for the provision of security guidance. The 21-day requirement that Senator Warner alleges I did not comply with only applies when a complaint is determined by the Inspector General to be both urgent and apparently credible. That was not the case here. I was made aware of the need to provide security guidance by IC Inspector General Chris Fox on December 4th, 2025, which he detailed in his letter to Congress. I took immediate action to provide the security guidance to the Intelligence Committee Inspector General, who then shared the complaint and referenced intelligence with relevant members of Congress last week. Senator Warner's decision to spread lies and baseless accusations over the months for political gain undermines our national security and is a disservice to the American people and the intelligence community. So, Richardson, you want to read that to your audience or no? It's fine. I mean, your audience can very well just go ahead and look it up on their own, and get more information if they want to. Instead of listening to your sort of creepy, whatever that is, story time. So I think that, I think that that's good. I think that that's good for today. I think we covered everything. So I hope everybody, again, had a really great weekend. Looking forward to a great week, just heading in there. Maybe the weather will, start to warm up. I don't know. Maybe our snow, typically, this is all, weather modification, you may say. But normally when we get like a lot of snow and like a blizzard type of thing, it usually melts, within the next couple of days. But it's been so cold over the last 2 weeks that it's still all around. So it's been pretty cold and snowy. So we'll see. We get the 4 seasons here, so it's not bad. As long as it doesn't rain, I don't mind the snow because I know that if it weren't for the snow, it would be just like rain and slush and mud and stuff. And I guess I'd rather have the snow and the cold than like just the icky of the rain. I don't know. I know we need rain. I know that. But I do enjoy the spring when everything starts to come back. So, well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Please like and subscribe. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you for tuning in on YouTube, Rumble, and X. So thanks again for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you next time.